Rigid brought you the world's first patented curved light bar. Now, it just got smaller, slimmer, and smarter with the Rigid RDS SR Series Pro. This compact single-row light bar conforms to modern looks and projects more lighting to get you further, boasting a compact design, gentle curve, and the same proven rigid quality. The RDS SR Series Pro is a new, sleek, and sophisticated way to own the night.
Yee! What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fishgistics Baja 500 wrap-up show live from Baja HQ, where you can buy all your off-road aftermarket stuff. Come on down, spend some money. We need to have you come in the doors. Cameron Steele, number 16 trophy truck driver. Not that you care, because this guy's sitting next to me. This is the number 31 trophy truck driver, Andy McMillin, my co-host. Andy, welcome back to Baja HQ and Fishgistics and the hosting seat.
I appreciate it. You know, I miss San Felipe, so I apologize to Fish and you guys for leaving you hanging.
Don't ever apologize to Fish.
But,
no one ever apologize to Fish.
Never,
okay, while we're
ever,
talking
ever.
about it, feel free to share. Let everybody know we're live here.
How much money have you made from the sharing thing so
That's
far?
the question I've been asking. Let's get Fish on the mic.
I feel like that's very trackable.
Yeah,
Fish.
it's
I feel like
super
you need to be on
trackable.
that.
I went back, originally it was $10 a share,
Right.
and then it jumped up to $20 a share because Pat Dailey was encouraging me to really leverage my value with Fish.
I agree.
And so now we're going to have
Especially
to
when you're pulling them away from daily engineering. Nothing's obviously getting done today. Sorry, Dad.
Not only is Fish not there, but Pat's not there. So welcome Jeff Proctor and Pat Dailey, factory Honda racers, Class 7 racers, winners at the Baja 500. We'll get to them in a second. But Andy, you know, it's really tough for me to sit here because, you know, you've got the GQ-ish good looks, the college education,
No.
well-spoken,
Thanks.
great attitude, good demeanor, men's fitness physique,
Of course.
and of course, how many Baja 1000 wins?
5.
Okay, so for me, I'm a non-fan. I just wanted to say that.
But you now have one.
Well, so I'm kind of in the club.
You joined the club.
Okay, so I should be a little bit less of a hater.
Absolutely.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
when you're not sitting next to me, I'm drinking the Haterade. I'm just saying. Is that fair?
It's very
I'm just
fair.
kidding. High five.
It's green haterade.
Love you, Mike. Congratulations. Baja 500 winner overall, Andy McMillin with us. We're going to talk trophy turkeys a little bit later because we're going to have some stars of the class, some people you're related to, right? I mean, it's a distant relationship, right?
It is. It is. It's complicated.
It is
you know,
complicated.
Like the Facebook thing, it's complicated.
Mhm.
That's
So
kind of-
He really likes Macy, but he's stuck with Dan and Luke, I think.
How does that happen?
You know, I don't know. He deals with it, though.
You know
I
what?
applaud
one of
him.
those distant family things.
Okay, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I was blown away with the fact that I was convinced when we went out of the race that Dan was going to get third, and then someone told me someone else got third. I'm like, Dan got fourth. I was so excited, but then Dan didn't get fourth, so we'll talk about that later. Trophy trucks, Mr. Ampudia is here as well, Alan, and Luke McMillin will be talking about the Class 1s. As well as the Class 10s, if I'm not mistaken. We got Cody Reid in the house, and we got the Davis family, Green Army. Justin Davis is here, so we're going to have all kinds of fun, and Sara Price is here to talk 6100s. But right now, we got you guys on the hot seat. Welcome to Baja HQ, and welcome to Fishgistics. Jeff, it's good to have you back up here. And Pat, of course, we always love you. Your family, Dailey Engineering, builds the oil pumps for our race truck, so there's a connection there. But welcome back, guys.
Yeah, great to be here, Cameron, Andy. We're just stoked to be here again.
Congratulations on the victory. Brand new truck, so let's talk a little bit about it.
Brand new out of the box.
Yeah, so how many test miles? So the first time when I was delivered my brand new 2012 Geyser, they drove it around the shop, put it on the trailer, took it to the race, we raced it, finished the race. So that was about all the test miles we had. That was back in 2011. Things are done a little differently now. But how many test miles did you guys have?
You know, I think we're going to be completely transparent, and this has nothing to do with Tisco whatsoever, but we finished at 5 a.m. on Friday, the day of tech. The day prior,
You guys are on the same program.
the day prior out in Placer City, we got maybe, if we're lucky, 40 test miles in, and we said, oh, we're not sure we have a race car. We can line up the start line, but we're not sure we have a race car. And we finished it at 5 a.m. and drove straight to TAC and put it in the TAC line and went to the start line.
Well, there's a different platform than what Tisco's built 600 trucks that they built for you guys. You know, different geometry, different suspension. So I think having the truck ready, so late or so close to start the race, and I'm guessing that you have to kind of think of a shot in the dark as to what your suspension setup's going to be, what your spring setup's going to be, and I'm sure that always varies vehicle to vehicle, weight distribution.
So basically, they couldn't use any of that really from the 6100 or the trophies, whereas when I was talking about my geyser, the 27 before my truck gave us the data.
Right.
But yeah, so you kind of shot in the dark. How'd it go? Who started, first of all?
Yeah, the base platform was basically a Tisco 6100, and then we had to change everything to make it kind of accommodate our drivetrain and everything.
So it is a Honda power plant, correct?
Yep. It's an endurance sports car engine. It's a 3.5 liter twin turbo. And
how much power?
Can't tell us. It's a secret.
It depends. It's all based on our air intake temps.
Okay.
So we produce a ton of power at night at the Baja 1000. And then as outside ambient temps go up, it kind of reduces power a little bit. But.
So describe for the people that don't know the difference between like a 6100 trophy truck spec and the truck you guys had built for your class.
And it is a Class 7?
Yeah, it's an unlimited Class 7. Basically, it's an endurance sports car motor. It's based loosely off of a 6100 chassis, so around that same size.
So 40-inch tires are allowed?
40-inch tires are allowed in SCORE. 37s are allowed in Best in the Desert.
Makes sense.
So we built the platform around a 37 reluctantly, but we're realizing we're going to need 40s on this thing to compete in SCORE.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so
our nearest competitor, Chamley, pretty much told us that they're. I was talking to them at Tech. They're going to be switching to 40s on their truck. So we're going to be behind the 8 ball here shortly.
It won't be long before the 1600 cars are on 40s.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Bigger the tire, smaller the hole.
Yeah.
So the difference between the 6100 or trophy truck spec, which Andy was asking, and the 7 truck or 7200 is that it has to be a 6-cylinder, where the 6100 truck is a sealed V8.
It has to be.
The width, length, and all of that is open. Correct?
That's all
they're
open.
Virtually that can be the identical truck.
Correct. Yeah. So in Class 7 Unlimited, we're limited on track width. On track width. We
Is
have
it
an
88?
87 inch,
87.
I believe, is the rule. Where TT spec, they can be as wide as they want. They're basically just mini trophy trucks.
Most of them are probably 92.
Yeah,
which is kind
I
of
would
the
say
standard
so.
Same, yeah.
92. So that was one of the biggest things that Tisco had to redo was redoing all the
arms.
suspension, front arms, just making it to where we're legal within the track width rules.
Narrowed the bed cage, and then we also had to go vertical with our spare tires, because if you lay the spare tires flat, they'd stick out beyond the body.
Copy.
Oh,
So
right.
it's pretty exciting to have a new race truck, though, right? I mean, and come out of the box, get the win. Getting it to the finish line was a big challenge at this race.
Especially the truck getting there at 8
Yeah, it
a.m.,
was
9 a.m.
8 a.m.
for the race.
We're pulling into Estero Beach to get it ready for Tech. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was a pretty long night for the guys. That's for sure.
So just you two guys driving on this race. I know in the past you've had Johnny Campbell racing with you. What's the plans as you guys move forward for the 1,000? What are you guys working on? I know you're also busying up your schedule as well with the new Talon Honda factory UTV effort as well, correct? Can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so I'll start with the 1,000. Basically, we're going to probably have a similar lineup to last year, where we're going to have some IndyCar talent with us. That's undetermined at this point, waiting on some...
The mirror crusher.
Yeah, exactly. Waiting on some contract...
Did you guys
renewal
get him that
stuff.
mirror by any chance?
I wish we could.
we never saw that guy again, I don't think.
That mirror was laying in the track for a while. I mean,
That was pretty wild.
So we'll have-
Amazing what goes viral. That was pretty crazy.
what kind of car was it?
It was like a Jeep Cherokee. Yeah.
So the Honda jumps over the Jeep to victory. I can see the marketing. Anyway, carry on, 1,000.
Yeah, so we'll have probably Johnny Campbell back in the seat as well, with an IndyCar driver and then us. So it's undetermined if we'll have 3 drivers or 4. It just depends on some Honda influences.
Will the Talon be at the 1,000?
It will not. So flipping gears over to the Talon program, pretty excited about this program.
Will it be on 40s also?
Eventually, we'll design it to be on 40s. Our first race will be King of Hammers 2020. So everything's kind of pointing that direction. We'll run not a full season, but a full big race season with the side-by-sides in 2020. So.
With a guest driver lineup to be announced.
The driver lineup to be announced, just to give you kind of a snapshot of what we're looking at. It's a driver development program, so we're going after some very young, talented athletes to drive these cars with the plan to grow them into the 7-truck Ridgeline and then ultimately into a trophy truck underneath our camp. So
Wow, that's
we
great.
want to be able to develop the next generation of off-road racers to go and compete against you guys.
That's awesome.
And that's kind of the grand plan and vision of the program.
Yeah, that's great.
Interesting. Very cool. Well, it sounds like you guys got a lot of cool stuff going on. What when you talk about the Baja 500 specifically, there's a lot of talk about that start line. A lot of talk with silt bed right away on the dike. Also going through the hills. So Andy was first. He never had any dust, so we don't even need to talk to him about that. We were 6th or 7th going through there. It was pretty gnarly already. Basically whiteout conditions. How was it when you guys got there, and what was your view of that first segment? You drove that, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm doing too much talking.
Go ahead.
I mean,
No,
I can
go
share
for
my
it.
experience from the start. By the time we started the race, they had already stopped the course or stopped the race and had some of those guys pulled out. So by the time we got to race mile 2, they had already rerouted us up into the farmland.
Out to the
So they
highway.
put us up onto the highway, but then it was very difficult to get back down off of the highway because it was just congested with fans. So we got some really good GoPro footage of that. And then once we dropped into the wash, I mean, we were basically driving by Braille all the way out the wash.
How many cars did you guys see off the side of the road out there? Just once you got onto that mountain section, because Andy, review really quickly. You got there first, but I mean, you're still having to tiptoe through there. I mean, explain to the fans that weren't there what this section looked like.
Yeah, it was a new section. So we started in Estero Beach, about 5 miles south of downtown Ensenada, and the first wash section was somewhat virgin. Not really run a whole lot. We had never raced on it before, as far as I know, and very silty. Lots of silt pockets from pre-running 2 days before the race to the day of the race. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. When I went through on race day, I was very glad to be the first one through there, because it was not gnarly for me, but it was like, wow, there's some deep silt in here. The guys are starting 2 at a time this year instead of 1 every minute, so 2 every minute on a drag race.
And it's a 37
Worth
mile an
noting we
hour
put
speed zone.
twice as many trophy trucks out in the same
Right.
amount of time than
Right.
you normally do.
Which I normally don't like,
Yes.
but for this race I loved it. Being raced off the line
'Cause you're on the pole.
by myself. And then we went into this mountain section for about 25 miles.
I think I heard your cousin say you're a jerk back there.
Yeah, of course. We went to this mountain section over to the European section, headed south for about 25 miles, and it was cliffs, it was steep uphills, steep downhills, lots of exposed rocks. To my surprise, lots of fans out there. Actually, I didn't expect to see so many people out there. But then just from the morning and how bad it got from pre-running, and then when I went through there in the morning to what it was like coming back in, I was once again thankful that I was the first one back through that on the way back before dark had hit. But yeah, it was a super gnarly section. Interested to see how it was for you guys.
Cars parked, guys off the
Yeah,
edge.
so there was cars parked. There was guys, down into gullies below. There was several bottlenecks. So there was like a 90-degree right hand up a silt hill,
Yeah, that's
and
what
everyone
I'm
was
talking
parked
about.
at the bottom. And then all of a sudden, the UTVs come up behind us, and they're like cats in a cage, and they're trying to find ways up the backside of the mountain, and they're scrambling everywhere. And we were just patiently waiting for the bottleneck to get uncorked, and then
Yeah.
we made our way up and we got out of there. So that was about race mile 15.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that from pre-running and then going out, and I was thinking to myself on my way back in, that was one of the spots and one of the corners I was nervous about, because going uphill and getting stuck is a concern, but coming downhill and getting sucked into the
where it's
deep
all been
ruts.
blown out. Yeah.
So there was one, I did the finish and came back down, and we were coming down this pretty good hill, and it was a silty hill off camber,
Yep.
and we just kind of started sliding down, and we actually got the truck up on 2 wheels, and that's where I bashed my elbow on the door bar. It was like, oh no, we had just passed Chamley like about a mile before that, so kind of biked it for a little bit, and then it settled back down, and my co-driver Michael Loomis is like, calm down, you got him, we're almost there, just settle down. We were just so amped up that we had just caught him after all the issues that we had throughout the day, and to be able to catch the leader with 10 miles to go, I just got really amped up.
Well, let's
and
touch on that for a minute, because I feel like I was talking to Pat a little bit before the show. We were sitting down here, and I feel like your race was what sums up the ultimate adventure of racing in Baja. and the unknowns of what can happen. So just touch on how your day went.
Well, Jeff started, so I'll let him tell his story until I got in the truck.
Yeah, we were out on the dry lake bed, and again, we're just going to be transparent here. We had some hub issues right out of the gate, and we were doing about 85, I think, and the rear tire passed us. And it
never a good feeling.
It passed us. Obviously we stopped. It went about a mile out into the desert. There were some spectators there. My navigator gets in the spectator's car and goes and chases the wheel because he thought there was a part of the hub still on. We did some field repairs and limped it to 190 where our pit was. We did another temporary fix, and we made it over to what our driver change was supposed to be at 260. Well, when I got to 260, Pat was in Ensenada with Tisco sourcing a ID hub. And
this Pat was supposed to be getting in the race car.
Yeah.
Co-driver.
I was in Ensenada.
The props really go to our car chief, Evan Weller. He takes the number plate off the car, and he uses that as the hub. And he took our cone for our pit and used it as a seal on the hub. And with some caulking, he seals the hub. And he's like, yeah, this is going to work. Let's go. And I hop back in the car. I was supposed to be out of the car and tell Pat to stay on the Pacific side, and I'll catch him at what time? 380. So it was another 100 miles over Mike's.
Yeah.
So Evan and I hop back in the truck, and we were down by about an hour at this point, and we just start reeling in the leader. And by the time we got over to Mike's to 380.
Well, not to mention, I'm guessing you hadn't pre-run that section and didn't have notes for that section.
It was nighttime at this point. We didn't have any notes.
So you got to the side hill in the dark?
Yep.
How'd that look?
I'm not sure what it looked like. we just hammered down.
So I asked them about that. You're talking about that off-camber hill climb that goes off to the left there. I asked them about it, and Evan just had this blank look on his face, like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, obviously it wasn't that big a deal because you guys just motored right up it.
It looked like what happened when we got there. So now a lot of people were talking about it. I mean, we're talking
at the driver's meeting.
200-yard section.
Yeah,
where is it
at the driver's meeting. It was 305.
After El Coyote, you come down the zigzags. We used to go along the rancher's fence.
Yeah.
Now we go up into the red dirt where the silt is.
Oh, the silty
The
left.
side
Yeah,
there.
that silty left.
Really
end.
deep.
Which a bunch of people, so when we pre-ran it, we went really slow and just drove through it and then drove up to the left and slid off a little bit. But there's videos of people coming in hot, blowing through it sideways, and the fence was
When I got there, I went and pre-ran on the Monday before the race. A week before the race. 2 weeks before the race. And it was literally just like a red dirt road.
Yeah.
Heading up and making a left onto the ridge. It was nothing. Then I came through there the next week, and it was a silt bed. And there was a car sitting down off to the side. I was in my old geyser truck making a speed run through the course. And it got hairy on me going through there, and I was actually nervous about that spot as well on race day.
That's the spot we're talking about.
Came through there on race day, and someone had made like a side road.
The rancher,
like a high
road.
The
rancher tried to make it, but I think what the problem was, the people come in hot, they blow over.
I came in hot because I was trying to carry speed through that. So then where my right front drops off the good road into the silt, and then I start sliding up into the people all on the ridge.
He was
a
that
good
guy.
shot.
Big show.
Yeah.
We went through
on completely eliminated before race day.
Yeah, we saw that. We knew we called that. We were with Dan and Luke, and Dan called that. He's all, this fence is going to be gone by race day, no doubt. I think we were going through there on Monday or Tuesday, and we were going through there on Tuesday, and Dan and Luke were in front of us, and I'm in my Can-Am, and we notice before the silt climb, there's that big hill on the left. Well, a guy in a Class 10 car tries to go up and over that hill.
Someone did go over.
UTV's no problem, but this guy in his 10 car, and he didn't make it. He slid down. He was stuck behind a tree, so he's panicking. He runs down when he sees our UTV coming. So I go, help, and I go up there, turn around, and I'm able to pull him back down around this tree.
It was so gnarly, so we came creeping up to that. We went through there, I think, the last time, maybe on Thursday before the race. And I was looking at it, and I said, we're going to do the same thing right now. We did the last couple times, and we're going to do the same thing on race day. I was talking to Kraft, our race engineer. He was navigating for me at this race. He's like, hey, I think the plan's perfect. Just do it. So we creep through there, and we're going super slow. And I'm like, I caught out of the corner of my eye this trail on the side of the hill. Yeah. I'm like, holy crap. So we got to the top and around, and we stopped. He's like, what are you doing? I'm all, we gotta stop and look.
You gotta at least look at it, right? We did. Yeah.
Let's look at this.
Yeah.
So we get out of the truck and we look, and the downside coming through the coastal agaves is like over vertical, off a step. I'm like, these guys.
And
are
it was
crazy.
it was a burned in line on Tuesday.
Oh,
Like
so
there was
people did it.
guys going up and over that thing.
Wow.
It was, I know the UTVs, that was like, that's their line because they're expecting to get there. And it's going to be just a bottleneck, and they're just going to go up and over it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I did it in my Can-Am, like just no problem.
Before I forget, I want to give a shout out to Dan Chamley because he's been a great racer. We raced against him in 7. Pat, you raced with us against him
absolutely.
in the DA truck. And, a lot of times he's had his own class, so to speak. And he is a formidable competitor when there's competition, and he's really solid. So I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been doing this for a long time. Won a lot of championships, and it's no joke to race against Dan.
No, Dan is the quintessential Baja veteran. No matter what is going to happen, Dan is going to be at the finish line. I mean, they've got a lot of experience. I mean, at the Baja 1000, we all got stuck in the silt at 380, and he was right behind me, and he pulls out this winch contraption, and he's tying it to the back of our truck, and we're working each other to get ourselves unstuck. And
Really?
I mean, they know how to get through it. And
So back to the race. You drove to 340.
380.
380.
Oh, 380.
I got in at Colinet, yeah.
No issues over the Mike's loop at Mike's or
No
anything?
issues.
Hub held up.
Hub held up.
Great.
It was dry when we got to 380, so we didn't
And
have to make a change.
You didn't even change it at 380. You
Nope.
just kept going.
Just kept
Did
going.
you have the parts?
We had the parts
had
in
the
the
parts.
truck, but by the time he got the truck to us, we were about, I think Chamley was about 25 or 30 miles ahead, and it's like, okay, we've only got 110 more miles to go. Chances of it catching him, who knows? Let's just keep going. Let's
You
not
never
waste
know.
any time. So we got in at 380 and just started going, not having an issue, and we came out of Santo Tomas. We had to do a quickie fuel stop. And the guys told me, hey, Chamley's 7 minutes ahead of you guys, and this is at Santo Tomas. And my eyes got
Red mist.
Oh,
Yeah,
man,
red
my
mist.
eyes got
Right
big.
before he goes into the tight
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, right into the tight stuff.
Perfect
So
time for it.
I got really charged up and, I mean, burned out of the pit. And have you
What
seen
time
our
of
little?
night is this?
We finished at 1:30, so I couldn't even tell you what time of the night
So maybe
this was.
11, maybe
Probably
midnight.
probably midnight,
Yeah.
I would say.
He
'cause-
left before the fueler was done fueling
Yeah, I
the
was
truck.
like,
He was that excited.
That guy.
We have it on video.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Note to Pitt, tell Pat after he leaves the fuel stop.
Yeah,
how he's doing
exactly.
on time, not
Before-
during the stuff.
He was yelling, "Is this a splash and go? Splash and go?"
So we set off after him, and then we passed. There was a few guys in between us. We passed them, and every time we would catch somebody, I'm like, "Is that him? Is
Yeah.
that him?" And then finally,
And then you did catch him.
Then we did catch
And
him.
did he get out of your way? Or?
So we got down. It was a pretty funny story. We got down in this spot, and there was 3 ways to go, and I think he stopped because he didn't know which way to go, and I knew. So he started to make the right turn, to go the right way, but he stopped, and we were right behind him. So I just started pushing him, and I'm yelling, "This is the right way! This is the right way! Go, go, go!" And
As
I'm
if
just,
he could hear you.
yeah, I know. You're just so amped up because I know it's Chamley. You can see the
your
big factory
adrenaline's
racing paint job. So I'm pushing him, and he goes off to the left, and we go around him, and
That was it.
Was
right
that
there.
before or after the two-wheel motion?
That was
on
before
side
the
of
two-wheel motion. I mean, the two-wheel motion was probably about a mile, 2 miles after that. So we were still all amped up, like,
gonna throw it away.
yeah, exactly. Go throw it away.
Oh,
And that's
man.
when, my co-driver's like, settle down. We
Yeah.
got him. We still have
I'd still like to see Fish be your co-driver.
that would be pretty funny.
But,
He'd be yelling at me for sure.
We're going to wrap this segment up, but we appreciate you guys. The factory Honda effort is huge. Great to hear about the new UTV, the Talon, and your guys' involvement. Anybody else you guys want to thank?
Yeah, we got so many people to thank that allow us to be
But you only get
here
5 here.
and racing. General Tire supports us, KMC Wheels, Steele It, and of course Baja Designs. We're grateful for those guys and their partnership.
Right on. Congratulations again. That's going to wrap up this first segment of Fishgistics. When we come back, Justin Davis, Sara Price, Cody Reid, all coming to the table here. We'll talk, obviously, Trophy Truck Spec, Class 10 and Class 1. A little bit later on, Trophy Turkeys.
Rigid brought you the world's first patented curved light bar. Now, it just got smaller, slimmer, and smarter with the Rigid RDS SR Series Pro. This compact single-row light bar conforms to modern looks and projects more lighting to get you further. Boasting a compact design, gentle curve, and the same proven rigid quality, the RDS SR Series Pro is a new, sleek, and sophisticated way to own the night.
What's cracking, people? Well, here we go. The buggy dorks and Sarah.
And one truck dork.
And Sarah. So just for reference, I am a buggy dork myself, a longtime 1600 racer and short course racer. And Andy,
former buggy dork.
big time buggy dork.
Definitely.
So just because
Love
we're
buggies.
trophy truck guys now and we think we're pretty cool, well, I mean, you know you're cool.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely, I think Justin probably doesn't like us. That's what I'm guessing is my first guess here. But anyway, welcome to the show, Green Army.
Thanks
Justin
for having
Davis,
me.
stoked to have you. Cody Reid, stoked to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, and Sara Price, welcome.
Stoked to be at Baja HQ. I got to get a little tour. This place is rad.
And we're stoked to have you. Yeah, we're trying to have fun with it. You know, we're trying to share the love and just have that vibe. You know, breathe in that feeling of Baja. That's why we have all the pictures and the fun stuff around. But
It's
I
come a
appreciate
long way since the first Fishgistics we did here.
It definitely
Not
has
sure how long
changed
ago
a
that
little
was.
bit. We're
Probably
trying
a
to
little
grow
year ago.
up. The hard part is actually trying to become a business.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's my first shot with my partners of having a retail business. So, but it's awesome. I'm having the greatest time. People walk in here with a huge smile on their face. And that's what
Awesome.
it's all about.
That's cool.
So, down the line, how'd you guys finish?
First.
First loser.
Hey! So,
2 in a row.
2 in a row first loser. No,
So-
3.
are you leading the points?
Yeah, I'm leading the points, so that's really cool.
So, four-wheel parts, RPM Racing,
Yep, BFG.
and BF Goodrich.
Yep.
Your sponsors. You've been in the spec truck now for how long, Sarah?
I've been in the spec truck now for 2 years. This is our second season in SCORE, racing it. And last year we had a lot of mechanical issues. This year we've been having a flawless truck so far, so it's been showing.
Those guys know how to build a truck.
Yeah.
Not-
They've been around a time.
The
or
Mason
two.
guys know how to build a great truck too.
No,
Just saying, they've been around. They know what they're doing.
Equipment.
Yeah.
And we're stoked for your success. You know, for me, having my wife be a big part of off-road racing when there weren't a lot of ladies, and obviously Judy Smith paved the way for all that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's great to see more ladies involved and to have not only you driving, but having Erica as your navigator, correct? Erica Sachs is your
Yep.
navigator?
Yep.
So 2 ladies out there going to war, and when you have to do some work on the truck or you get stuck, it's all you guys.
Oh yeah, and actually this last race we had a jack fail on us, so we were out trying to change a tire that we earned. We hit a rock, and so we realized our jack wasn't working, wasn't lifting up the truck at all, and like we're both like feet underneath the truck, like trying everything. We're like, you gotta be kidding me right now.
So did the jack end up working later or no?
No, we had to go 10, 12 miles on a flat, which I was like, man, this better not take out brakes or anything like
Was
that.
it early or later in the race, or where were you?
So we passed for the lead about mile 10, I would say, and then we were leading, and this was like mile 70.
So still somewhat early in the race.
Yeah, so it was a
With the
bummer,
jack
and our
failure.
whole class pretty much passed us. So I was like, dang
Ugh.
it, like this sucks. But
Cody, we haven't had you on the show before. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Just regular guy, work all day. Went to college 5 years ago. So now I work at RPI, working for the aerospace industry.
And what do you guys do? Tell us what RPA does. I didn't mean to cut you off, Sarah.
no, you're good. You're good.
We're an aerospace manufacturer, so we make hardware and bolts, fasteners for satellites, helicopters, jets. That's our main bread and
Race trucks.
bread and butter.
And you make parts for race
We
trucks.
do now, yep. It helps us with justifying the expenses for off-road racing. Kevin, my dad, runs it. Shelby's vice president, so they're currently there. So
And Shelby's your mom, for
Correct.
people that don't know.
yep.
Class 1 racer.
Class 1 racer. Is she Class 1 champion? I know she's won some
She
races.
was
2 years ago?
2 years ago, yes.
So the question, of course, like, so everybody wants to heckle me, like, are you better than your wife? And so Of course I'm not. My wife is the greatest of all time. I just want to say that she's not only beautiful and talented, but just spectacular all the way around.
You know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing. But you or your mom, who's faster, who's smarter? What when it comes down to it?
I would have to say my mom.
Yeah.
My temper can get in the way. She doesn't have that. She's always able to keep a cool head, even pre-running. She's much more calm about it. I get a little wound up all the time. That's why when we first started racing Mexico and she would start in my old Class 10 car, she was perfect for the start. She'd keep a level head. She wouldn't get riled up with everybody. If she got past, she was like, okay, I'll get them later. So to me, I learned a lot from her over the years. She's got a hell of a lot going on being able to wheel that one car. I personally have no interest in it, and more power to her. I hopefully at the 400 we'll see her back and hopefully back on the podium.
Right on. Well, congratulations on your success. Class 10 is no joke, by the way. How many entries did you have at 500?
This year was 17.
17. So you got a pretty big field. I know it's been kind of ebbing and flowing, but man, there's a lot of vehicles. And are you guys on
class,
35s
Yes.
over there? Yeah.
Yeah, we're running the new BFG Class 10 tire.
Right
is
on.
That's wild. I mean, when I was racing Class 1, running, all the Class 1 cars ran 35s. When
Yeah.
I first started racing, they were running 33s on the front.
Right.
And then the big jump was to 35-inch tires. It's just crazy, the evolution.
Now
of
the
race
ones are on
cars.
37s and 40s.
Yeah, there's the 3 buggies that are on 40s now.
It's pretty crazy to see them coming down the road.
So
You're like,
crazy.
"Oh."
It's wild.
Speaking of buggies in Class 1, one of our bona fide stars of our sport, Justin Davis, you've had some amazing success in the sport, back winning the Baja 500. How many Baja wins do you have? I mean,
Well, it took almost 10 years to win my first 500. Now we have 2. I've won San Felipe twice. I've won the 1,000 4 times.
4 times in the 1,000. And you've won in Class 10 and
10,
in Class
1,
1?
and 12.
And 12. That's right. And is your little brother still racing?
Yeah, he was actually in 3rd place at the 500 or
In 10 or 12?
10, and he was at mile 400 on that, that windy graded road coming in before you make the hard left.
Yeah.
And he just stepped out just a little bit, and he was like, "Oh, it's a bush, no big deal." Well, there was a Volkswagen behind that.
Yeah, big old rock in there.
So it took the arm off, and then he rolled, and that was
bummer.
it. But now he's getting there. He's
So,
learning.
you were racing the trophy truck class at one point. You're back in Class 1, but you've been doing some stomping over there. And I know your dad is a big believer in what you guys do, and I love seeing your dad out there. How passionate is your dad
He's
when it comes to racing?
He's a wild man during the race. He's in his black pre-runner. He doesn't even use it for pre-running. He just uses it for chasing the race, and he's everywhere. Like, you won't think, he'll never make it there. And then you get to the pit, like, he's here. How he got here, I don't know. And we've had it where that truck lost a motor, and he's like, nah, it'll be fine. And he drove that thing at like 90 miles an hour, and then we got to the finish. Danzio took it apart. He's like, how'd this thing even run? We're like, I don't know. It was running fine. It was smoking a little bit, but...
How long have you had, so right now you have the old Hovey single-seat Class 1 car. How long have you had that car? And then what were you running? And then you had a Porter or an ES car. Was the car before that, right?
Yeah, we bought the Hovey car last year, beginning of last year, and then we won the San Felipe, the 500, and then we had some bad luck the last couple races. But then, we had the Porter before that. It was a mid-engine car, a lot bigger car, a lot heavier.
Yeah.
They all, that one was a mid-engine, this is a rear engine.
Right.
A little bit different, but both good cars. And just this car, it's just been lucky. It's one of those cars that you don't want to ever get rid of it because whatever you do, that car seems to make it to the finish line. And, we've had, Josh over there, he's been prepping the car, and he's done a fantastic job. I mean, at the 500, I used and abused that car, and it took it. So, and that car's pretty fragile. I mean, it only weighs 4,000 pounds with me in it. So,
wow.
It's a
You
little bit.
you ever wonder what it would be like to have a Navigator?
Sometimes, but then I'm like, it's all by myself. I don't have to worry about, if I crash it. I mean, it's just me. I don't have to worry about hurting anybody. And
How does that work with, so back in the day, there were a lot of guys that did single seat, Ivan in the PPI truck, Dave Ashley and Dan Smith in the 8 truck, and then in their Enduro truck built by Bill Savage and those guys. How is it, back then there was no GPSs. And so it was just all memory and driving by the course and your pre-running and what you can memorize. How is it for you, and what strategy do you do? Is it more course memorization and the GPS is just there for reference? Or are you marking things on the GPS and you're constantly looking at the GPS? How do you do that?
It's a little bit of everything. Like, I have the lead nav system in there, so that helps a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've had it where something happens and it don't work.
Right.
So then I got the I have the Lowrance in there, and a lot of it I've been there doing it for a long time now. Like
A long time?
almost
How old are you, by the way?
26.
Okay.
So, but
Been doing it since what, you were 14?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, I've been down there a lot, and I pre-run a lot, and a lot of it, I just, like, pre-run, I'm like, man, I got to remember that. And then race day, you're like, I know where that's at.
Yeah.
So, and then, when you're by yourself, you try not to make a lot of mistakes. So, even though it says, hey, you're clear, keep going, I'm like,
Yeah.
I second guess it sometimes, which then you go around, wow, that was a rock.
Yeah.
So, you just have to, and you don't want to get a flat because you're like, I don't want to change it by myself.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was.
So
worried
you
about
just
most.
you have to take things a little bit more cautious, I think, sometimes. But in the long run, sometimes it works out better because you don't take some of those chances. Where like, I got to co-drive.
Well, yeah, I
something
think so. I
happens.
mean, if you're having to run a little bit more conservative over the life of the race, I feel like nowadays with racing, especially in the trucks, it's always like, well, how fast can you go? And then someone's not going to have an issue, and they're going to be the one that wins the race. I still don't drive like that. I still know where to be cautious, where I can push and it's safe. And then, okay, we're in a tight section.
That's
there's
why
a lot
you're
of
winning
rocks.
races.
Well, not necessarily, but I think
I'm part of it. You gotta be a good decision maker, and you gotta be good at processing what you're.
Right.
I mean, I think the best supercross racers are the guys that can really process what's going on around them.
Yeah.
The other athletes, what the track's doing, what your bike's doing, and make those decisions in a split second.
Well, and not to break concentration or not to get distracted
Right.
by something which, when you're by yourself, it's even a higher level of concentration, because if there is a ditch or there is something, it's up to him to remember it.
Right.
We have someone calling it for us on the notes.
My
The
guys
rest
are
of
usually
us.
napping in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
The only thing they
They
do
just
is
get
get
off
out to
their
spray the
tires.
champagne at the end.
Oh, that's nice.
That's it.
You do the tires by yourself.
I do.
If you ever get a flat.
pretty much. We never get flats. That's the
Yeah.
idea. Don't
That's-
stop.
I agree.
I want to ask you, Cody.
Yes, sir.
Being class 10, and there's a lot of unlimited, so to speak. Sarah, not really unlimited, but unlimited. And Justin, Andy, myself. You're really the first class that gets to the track, if I'm not mistaken, by start order, that sees everything that the 6100s, trophies, and class 1s left behind, whether it's cars parked or silt beds, or how much does it change from, and I don't know about your pre-run schedule. I haven't shared with you very much on the pre-running, but are you guys really, when you're pre-running, you must be figuring that you're going to come up on all kinds of chaos and destruction along the way. Is that a big part of your planning?
Absolutely. We try to take at least a week, and we're down there all week pre-running almost all the way up to tech day. And my mom, not so much. She'll look at things, oh, I got no problem. I got horsepower, no worries. Me, I look at it, I'm like, there's going to be a truck stuck there, or this is going to be stuck there.
Yeah.
I need to find a way around. That did happen to me at the finish coming in. I got stuck behind a Cop 6100. But that's
Am
why
I right that my trophy truck pulled them out?
You pulled the Cops one, or?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
I wasn't in it. I was fat catting it.
I got around them, thankfully, before that
But,
happened.
yeah,
But,
I think we might have pulled one of the black trucks out. Cody told me, I don't know if it was Cops one. You just saying that they were stuck.
Oh,
But
Cody in your truck did it.
Cody in my truck, there was a 6100 truck stuck that they pulled out.
I believe it.
It was
They
blocking part
they
of the
were
race
stuck there
course or
pretty
something.
good.
I'm not sure. So it's chaos when you get there, huh? So you got to plan on that. And
Absolutely.
then, so I know that I'm not sure if it was you, Justin, when you were racing class 10, you used to rear start all the time. Is that right? So I know the strategy and I understand it, but I mean, how many trophy trucks, 6100 trucks, are you battling with all day long? I mean, you pretty much battling with the 6100 trucks the whole time?
I battle with 6100s and trophy trucks. We passed, I believe, 7 or 8 just in the second half alone, including one trophy truck legend and Sammy Ehrenberg up through Mike's.
Does the push to pass work for you guys? Are people adhering to that at all?
Do they feel you when you nerf them?
Yeah. How much does your car
no.
weigh?
My car's about 2,600 pounds, race ready. So.
And your shock towers are right up there in a vulnerable position if you're trying to nerf trucks?
Not as bad as it used to be in our older cars. The Alumacraft are a lot safer, but it's still have to really choose my battles on when and where I hit them, because I have gone up under trucks before. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But
I have as well.
I have
buggy
as well,
days.
yeah.
thankfully, a
Fast
lot of them
car.
now are putting their spares a little bit lower, so I can just kind of bounce off that.
Yeah.
That's how I got the Mango truck out of the way at this one, and
Not to name any names.
just have to
or
be
anything,
patient,
but, you know.
really. It's,
Yeah.
Especially because TJ last year I had to hit a couple of trucks. Yeah, they don't know where they're.
Yeah.
I have to hit them at like
What
40
about
miles
you,
an hour.
Justin? Same experience. I mean, you're obviously seeing a lot of trophy trucks.
Yeah, and then like when we raced our 10 car, we used to build like a big bumper on the front just because
Knowing you're
we
gonna
had
be
at the
plowing
1,000 one year. We won the 10. I caught, I don't know, it was a 6100 trophy truck, and he wasn't gonna move, and we're like, we gotta go. So I hit him, and the bumper just went all the lights and everything were just smashed. I'm like, well, that probably wasn't the smartest idea. Yeah. But
sometimes in the moment, it's hard to make those smart decisions.
But even in the one car, you still got to be careful. Just going like in all those ridges, like the truck will go down, you're going up, and you got to watch it smash the hood of your
the
truck.
rear suspension of the trucks unloading off those ledges and the downhills.
Like I one time caught Jesse James, I think it was, and I thought I hit his rear end. I went so far underneath his truck.
Wow.
And the thing slid off the hood.
Wow.
Sarah, you see some of both of it, right? Because you're catching the one cars and the trophy trucks. And you have a little bit of advantage because you can nerf the trophy trucks a little bit if you get up close to them. But what's that relationship for people that don't know? Like you're in a limited power vehicle, so you might catch them on the tight stuff, and then all of a sudden you get to the horsepower section, you're just like, I just worked an hour to catch that guy, and then whoa, gone. I mean, it must be frustrating.
Yeah, this last race especially, there was a trophy truck that we were battling with for a long time, and I was in their dust for so long, like an hour, I want to say, and I just was full throttle, like through a silty section and just trying to catch them, but I just couldn't get that little bit that I was saying, just on the like crest of their silt. And I finally passed them, and then we had to come in and get a fuel stop. And I was like, "Are you kidding me right now? Like I just passed me again."
Did he go by you?
Yeah, he totally did. Me and Erica were both so bummed. We were like, "Really, right now?" But the 10 cars, we're always like aware of them because in the front of our class, usually it's kind of we don't always see them up there. But if you're in the mid-pack and 6100s, you're going to see for sure the 10 cars. And those little things are rockets, and they can go anywhere and do the tight stuff and technical stuff faster than we can. But, yeah, we're...
That's where I get them all.
Yeah. But, we're now in the one class. And, at the 250, we beat all the one cars, which was pretty cool. And
interesting.
So we're right up there with the one cars almost every race now.
And so... question, being a lady in racing, we experience with Heidi and anybody, I think, when you're not the dominant, the females are not dominant in the sport. Do you feel like it's really come around where people not accept, but they understand that the ladies are just as experienced and just as qualified to win these races? Obviously, his mom is a testament to that as well. Do you feel like that's really come into play? Because we felt like, I think, Heidi got to feel that in the mid-sized trucks and stuff like that. But then once she got the trophy truck, which admittedly she wasn't really ready to be there, or she wasn't ready to win, I'm sorry, better way to say it. But now do you feel like people are really accepting of that, and what's the reception from people?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is we definitely have more of a target on our back, I think, a lot of the time. But honestly, in our class especially, it's pretty cool to see everyone give us so much respect because they see us out there. We're putting in tons of pre-run miles. We're looking at lines. We're doing everything we possibly can to do our homework. And the guy that actually beat us at the 500 because of our jack failure, he was like, our plan was just to basically follow you girls because we knew you did the homework and you had all the good lines.
What team is that, if you don't mind saying?
Rally Ready. Rally Ready. I forget the guy's name. They're really nice guys.
It's their first win in the class, right?
We helped pit him.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah, they were hoping to get them on the show actually too today.
Oh yeah, they had some. I asked Charles. He said he wanted to come, but he couldn't make it out today.
Yeah, it's cool for them to get their first win. Congratulations to them, of course. But you're still looking for your first spec truck win, correct?
Yeah, we've been second a lot. I'm like so over it. Well, I'm stoked. I'm grateful.
That's when it starts to happen though. Is you start putting the races together and just having being consistent and having solid finishes, and then boom, before you know it, it pops. And
that's pretty much how it happened for us. You just get to the consistency. You understand what it takes to get there, to be in that top 5, and you just keep staying there.
Yeah.
And I think now frustration for me is like, so for the first 2 races of the year, we kind of we weren't ready to win, so we kind of scaled it back. This race we were ready to win, so we went back all in. And then we had a problem, but it's frustrating to figure out exactly how you want to play that game all day long. But you guys have had spectacular success, so it's only a matter of time, in my opinion, that you guys get there to that victory in the spec truck. How many in your class this time?
I think there was 30-something trucks, maybe.
How many trophy trucks were there?
29. 38.
I don't know. It was over 30 though, for sure.
Yeah.
Not as much as San Felipe. San Felipe was massive.
Yeah. Why?
Something crazy.
Just everyone wants to go hit those bumps.
Speaking of how the course deteriorates, at San Felipe, I started 27th, like in the middle of the pack, and down Portecitos Road, it was a different road. Being back 27th than it was, I think, starting up front, and it plays a big factor. I mean, when you're pre-running, you see it one way. But during the race, it could
completely
be
different.
100% different than how you remember it going
I
through
think
the
we were
race.
35th off that race, so yeah, it was a little different.
Yeah.
Plus, we
absolutely.
were battling some setup stuff. We finally got it. I'm super excited. It's the last race. We'll talk about trophy trucks later.
Right.
Anything else you guys got brewing on the top of your mind? So what's your plan, Justin? Race for the championship this
Yeah,
year?
now we're sitting. I think we're tied with Brad for the point. So
Oh, speaking of which, have you ever been on the show before?
no,
Okay, so I'm sorry we're going to bring this up. Is it okay if we bring it up?
you can bring it up, no problem.
Okay, so we had a discussion about the highway nerfing back a year ago.
Yeah.
I think it was at this race.
Yep.
And I know that I was a little bit outspoken that I didn't like it. I'm sure you have your own opinions. Thinking back on it, what's the vibe now that you think back on it? In the moment, racing is one thing, but maybe break it down a little bit for us.
It's one of those things is when you're also by yourself, so you have nobody sitting there like, hey, calm down or anything
Right.
like that. So when he went around, it was like, now I'm just like kind of pissed, and I'm like, all right. So then when I went to go around him, he came back over, and then
Right,
I'm like,
which is I'm not in agreement with that.
and then it's like, okay,
Game on.
it's full, anger mode right now, and then
Right.
you have no one saying, hey, calm down, it's all
Chill
right.
out.
So then when
Mile 70.
and then I hit him, and then we get in the dirt, and then I'm like, you know what, I'm over it now, because now you're really not moving over.
Yeah.
So I hit him again, and I'm like, and then I was kind of like, even though I didn't pass him, I know I just stirred him up, and he's just gonna drive just take
part
out.
of the sight game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, after the race, I'm like, it probably wasn't the smartest decision. It happens, but it was just one of those things. Is when you're by yourself, you don't have
Right.
anybody calming you down. You don't have nothing. So it's like,
Yeah.
and then you think about it, you're like, yeah, that probably wasn't the smartest idea.
Yeah.
I've done
But-
dumb stuff before with a
We've all
navigator
done dumb stuff before.
with me.
Come on.
It's one of those things. It's racing.
I just wanted to ask you about it because it was a topic here, and you mentioned the Wilsons, who are great racers, obviously. Congratulations to them on all their success. Just thought we'd touch on it. Sorry, Fishgistics. Is that all right?
Oh, it's all good.
So, but congratulations on your success. And
Thank you.
Cody, we're stoked to have you here, man. It's good to get to hear from you and hear a little bit about what's been going on with you, and hear a little bit from the other side about your mom's success and her determination as a racer. What's next for you guys?
We're getting ready for the 400. We're basically just focusing on score, so both cars are already coming down. Until that's just working the day job, making sure the bills are paid. I got a new house in the works, so I'm hoping that gets done soon, and then we'll be heading down south in September, and hopefully we're leading the points right now, barely. So hopefully I can bring home another Class 10 championship, and hopefully maybe pull something out of our hat for the Class 1 car as well.
How many
Right.
SCORE championships do you have?
I have 2.
That's pretty impressive. And
Very
Sarah,
impressive.
we're stoked to see you out there battling, and I think, are you leading the points? I know I already
Yeah.
asked you. You
Yep.
are leading the points,
Yep.
which is huge. What's next for you? You guys going, because I know the RPM team, you guys race a ton, which seat time is great.
Yeah.
So are you guys going, is Vegas to Reno next for you guys?
I'm only racing SCORE.
Oh,
I
okay.
raced Cement this year, but basically we're just preparing for the same thing he is, 400, and we're really close in points. So I'm in the lead, but I'm in the lead by a point, I think.
Who are the top 3 in points?
It would be us, the Rally Ready team, and then AJ Jones. So.
Oh, AJ. And he ended up finishing 4th, even though he had quite a bit of problems with
Yep.
this race. I don't know exactly what they were, but I know they were back a bit.
Yeah, so consistency, hopefully we'll win the championship, and so that's the goal, and hopefully we get a win in between that. So.
Right on. Well,
Yeah.
we're super stoked to have all you guys here at Fishgistics. If you guys ever want to come back, let us know, and I'd love to have you guys back. We'll follow your success as you guys move forward, but thanks again.
Yeah, thanks,
you.
guys.
That's going to wrap up the second segment. Next is going to be the trophy turkeys.
Yeah, the donkeys.
The
Get
trophy
'em all up
burros.
here.
Yeah, we'll get your cousins up here. I think their names are Luke and Dan, right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Not my brothers.
Yes, not your
Cousins.
brothers. And I believe Alan Ampudia will join us up here. We'll talk trophy trucks when we come back here at Baja HQ for the final segment of the Baja 500 Fishgistics show.
What are we doing out here today in Barstow, Wayne?
Right now it's first day out with the new trophy truck, and it's absolutely beautiful. Good day, beautiful weather. The whole team came out to help us out and give us support. And we got King Shocks out here, Ariba's out here, I got Mark, everybody's here. It's gonna be a very good day today.
Rebate's just doing a little bit of fine tuning on the tubes. We did one little revalve on the front. The back's pretty dang good. and we're going to go out and just give it 4 miles.
Rigid brought you the world's first patented curved light bar. Now, it just got smaller, slimmer, and smarter with the Rigid RDS SR Series Pro. This compact single-row light bar conforms to modern looks and projects more lighting to get you further, boasting a compact design, gentle curve, and the same proven rigid quality. The RDS SR Series Pro is a new, sleek, and sophisticated way to own the night.
And welcome back to Fishgistics, live at Baja HQ, your off-road aftermarket store if you want to come play. Austin Farner is here, who is Fish. He's jumping away from the microphone, so we're not going to include him right now. But this is our trophy truck segment, so to speak. We have the winner of the trophy trucks, Andy McMillin. His cousin, second place, Luke McMillin. Fourth place, Alan Ampudia. And I know you were driving with your brother Aaron as well in the Papa's Beer truck. And then eighth place, yeah. Dan McMillin.
8th is the new 4th.
Eighth is fourth.
Twice as good.
Yes.
The bar's been set.
So, okay, welcome everybody. So we've been talking about the buggies, trophy truck specs. Of course, we talked about the 7s. Overall, the Baja 500 was a very tough race. I believe the course layout was really interesting. I personally was not a fan of the side-by-side. The side-by-side start I like, but I'm not a huge fan of it for Baja racing because it's not traditional, and I'm a big traditionalist, which I know all the McMillins are, and I believe Ampudias are the same way. The thing I didn't like, really going 2 at a time in a minute means one car every 20 seconds on the track, more or less, going into the tightest section we've probably raced in a long time. So those things were a little bit... But overall, I think SCORE has been doing a great job of delivering remarkable courses that we can race on, VCPs that are placed well and moving. I like the fact that VCPs move around and make people think about it. Love to hear your guys' thoughts a little bit about that.
Dan doesn't like that.
Dan doesn't like that, no. So, Danny, we can start with you. Finishing 8th, you had a great run going. I know that we were right behind you. We were kind of doing the accordion thing. We had a little bit of a fueling issue. Actually, we didn't have a fueling issue. We had the mount for our fuel system break on the truck, so they couldn't fuel the truck. So we fell back a little bit and then tried to race back through. But I know when we all got out to 370 or whatever, it was the 4 of us. But Luke, what happened to you? Because I was convinced we went out of the. I'm sorry, Dan. Now I messed the names up. Danny, I know. Yeah, you're gonna leave. I know that you had a great race going, and after finishing runner-up kind of at San Felipe, you're not right there knocking on the door. I say kind of because you ended up being 3rd for a VCP penalty. Speeding. I don't even have the facts straight. I just let you talk.
It's like you don't even listen to me, Cameron.
It's like I don't care about your feelings.
It's like you don't care about my feelings and my races, and you've changed, man.
I was convinced the McMillin podium just ran away from the whole field. What happened to you, Dan?
I hit something on the graded road before the Collinet Bridge the first time. So you're in that Collinet wash where it's really crappy in the tight trees, and it opens up, and you're like, oh, thank God I'm out of that. And on the graded road, I hit something. I don't even know what I hit. I never checked up. We looked at the data. I never hit the brakes. It just, like an explosion, like the truck just hit, and it popped me up and dirt over the hood at like 100 miles an hour or so, and
wow.
Me and Brady were like, what the hell was that?
So it broke the truck.
It slammed, it bottomed out by my feet, so it knocked that tin by my feet, which knocked the brake back and broke the brake ballast clevis, and then bent my throttle linkage.
A rock in the sill, maybe, or a hole, or
I think there was like a
small ditch, and I just hit it just right or wrong. Kind of like when I crashed
after
the Parker,
after
just
the bridge,
right.
But before the left turn.
Before a mile before the bridge, and
it was like a big gradual swooping dip.
It wasn't that big of a deal. I mean,
that's exactly what happened to me at the Baja 1000 when we finished second. Is I hit a big gradual dip that I pre-ran about 4 times and didn't even think anything of it, but I hit it at 95 miles an hour and almost ended the truck. Ripped the lights off the front of it. Donkey.
So maybe just a little too. I mean, kind of like the perfect speed to brake.
So it took some time to fix it.
Half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So Andy was like 6 minutes in front of me. Luke was like 4. Because these two just.
And then you had a pretty
good
gap behind you.
And then I was sitting there for probably 20, 25 minutes, and then Bryce Menzies, and then another 10 minutes, and then it was Rob and Robbie, and then it was like Lawrence and.
Yeah, well, I was surprised.
Alan.
We had fueling issues. We were kind of close to you guys at Saldana, but no one came. I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Yeah. We got going again, and we stopped at the mic show for 4 minutes, and no one came. I was like,
It happens more often than you'd think.
I'm like,
every race, it's like, where is everybody? Where'd they go?
And then we started nursing it with the water line issue going down after the vineyard and through the rocks down to Santo Domingo. Got out on the highway and we're stopped in our pit for a while. I'm like, can you guys fix this thing so we can get going? What's going on around here?
We're still good.
But obviously, you guys are in the race. I mean, you guys finished 4th and had a great battle. I mean, everybody's seen the video of you guys and Robbie. That was you driving?
Yeah, that was
so
me driving.
Aaron started and you finished?
Yeah, I got on right before the San Matias wash, so mile like 240 or something like that. So then it was me to the finish.
So you guys have been having some pretty breakthrough races. I mean, you guys really, the speed is there. You guys are racing in that top 5. You guys really, I mean, a year ago you guys were still finding your feet, it seemed like. But now it seems like you guys have found the spot for yourselves.
Yeah, well, last year was the first season that we raced. Before I crashed in my first race at Baja 1000. I'm sure you all saw the video.
I was there.
So my brothers couldn't. Yeah, you stopped. Thanks for that. No and
worries.
After that,
I should say we were there.
Yeah, we were. Yeah, and my brothers didn't get to ride the truck. And then the 500, the next time we raced, the engine blew up in mile like 90 when we were leading we were the first ones on the road. So my brothers didn't get to drive the truck again. So I was the only one with seat time in the truck, really, because we don't really get to test that much as we would want to. And San Felipe last year was my brother Aaron's first actual race. So, you know, it takes some time to adapt to all the power and everything that trophy trucks have to offer. But, yeah, we found our groove, and this year we've been doing fairly good. We just have to put like you guys were saying earlier, like a good run and a good race together where you don't have any issues, because now, like, a single flat can take you out of winning a race or even finishing the top 5. Unless you're Andy, you can roll and flats and everything, you can still win.
It just doesn't matter. Yeah, he's got that horseshoe Ryan Arceo was talking about.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to you in a minute, because we definitely got to talk about racing with Robbie Gordon. Luke, you have been spectacular. I'm doing all the talking.
No, please.
I'm going to ask you.
I'll throw some.
I'm going to ask you because
we talk to Andy all the time in the office, so we don't need to talk.
No, but seriously, Andy. I mean, Luke and Dan have really been coming on, and I know after the T1 race, the win at King of the Hammers for Luke, a lot of people are expecting him to be right there. Then, boom, he's right there, right? I mean, Dan and Luke were both right there. Dan, you're Dan, and see, I'm getting it straight.
Yeah.
But they're right there. I mean, you're starting to think. I mean, you know how good they are. You know how good their pre-run is. What are you thinking as you're moving? You know, you're 3/4 of the way through the race, and you're like, holy crap, my cousins are right here.
It's actually really cool that we're all able to race these trucks and continue the family legacy of racing in Baja. So number one, it's just super fun that we all have good trucks, good teams, good equipment, and we're able to battle against each other down there. It's just super fun. It's like my dad did with his brother, and it's just a lot of fun, you know, for our family. And then when we were all running up at the front, I was still somewhat pleased that Dan was in second, because no offense, but Luke has won a race before, and so I was a little bit more worried about Luke than I was Dan. But I was thinking, as long as Dan's in front, as long as he doesn't let him go by or have an issue, I still have a little bit of a buffer on Luke, so I'm okay. And then it came over the radio at San Telmo Road or something that now Luke was second on the road, and Dan had pulled over for, I think he thought it was a flat, but it was a bad sensor. And then I'm like, oh man, here he comes. And then before I knew it, he closed it from I had a 2-minute lead or 2.5-minute lead at Mike's Road at 260, got over to the pavement at 340, and Luke had me by 20 or 30 seconds on time. And I knew it was going to happen.
Because when I let
and then
Luke
it did.
go, he checked out. I mean, I wasn't going slow at all. I pre-ran Mike's to
Dan and Luke.
ton of
Dan and
times.
Luke both. When Dan was running second on course, up and over the summit and down into the desert, I had a flat just before the summit. They both reeled me in because I had 6 minutes, 5 minutes on our Sierra at K77. I had like 6 on Dan. I think almost 8 or 9 on Luke on time. And so I'm like, oh, this is a great day. Let's just keep doing this all the way to the finish. Had a flat before the summit. That gets in your head before the bad rocks.
Right. Where
so
are
then
they?
I'm
What's
like,
going on?
cruise it, and then I got another tire at 190 down there at Highway 5. And then I didn't get my real next split on those guys until Borrego, and that was my main pit, and it was like 3 minutes. 3 minutes to Dan and 4 minutes to Luke. And so I'm like, they're both. I think I even came on the radio. I was watching my GoPro footage from inside my parents' chase vehicle, and my brother had it set up, and my dad gets on the radio. He's like, hey, Dan came through 3 minutes, corrected. Luke's 4 minutes. I'm like, I came on the radio. I said, damn, they're hauling ass. Like, I knew in my head, like, okay, they're coming. They're putting in the charge. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a great day of racing.
It was a good pace for sure. We were running 4th on the road for the first 370 miles or whatever, and so we were gauging by our people, like, hey, you're 2 minutes back or you're 4 minutes back or whatever, but the pace was good. I don't think it was as fast a pace, Luke, as last year's 500. Last year's 500 seemed to be like the craziest, fastest race that I had raced in the last decade. I don't know if you guys would agree with that, but do you agree the pace wasn't as furious?
The first half, I agree. The first 100 miles was a mess for us. It wasn't going good in the truck, and that's, obviously Andy was moving and was very quick.
By no means are we saying that you're going slow, but you might have been going that pace, but it didn't feel like the rest of us were going that pace.
No, I mean, by mile 100, he had 9 minutes on us, and that was a ton of time, but I kind of expected it. I wasn't feeling it, and we weren't doing good. We, talking about 2 at a time starts, we started and we got beat off the line by the cops, and then it was kind of, I didn't see that coming, but didn't get a good jump at the start, and that happened, and then right away I said, all right, it's not worth ruining my visor, it's not worth trying to dive in on him on the short course. It really didn't matter to me, and I said that at the start line, and I just stuck to that because I knew, looking up to my cousin, it's being smart is number one out there. If you can just be smart, keep the truck together, and just not make those impulsive calls, you're gonna have success. So I just, I turned it down and said, all right, let's just get out to K77 out there where I know it a little bit better, and then we'll turn it on and
it opens up a little bit more.
And it opens up a little bit more.
You can see around you. I mean, honestly, we got beat off the start too. My racing partner, Bobby Picoy, has a 1,200 horsepower Dan Steele engine with all his torque. So we jumped him on the start, but he smoked us on the first straight. I was like,
But I was going to ask you, I mean, seriously, we were leaving the short course, and I just checked up. I said, okay, I'm going to stop. I didn't stop, but I probably went down to 10, 15 miles an hour for 30 seconds. I said, I'm
I checked up as well.
It's all just going to
I slowed down a little bit. We got through the first couple turns, and I was still like right on the back of his dust. We actually, there's a picture of you in it. I think there's a slight left silt hole that's like dark dirt, and like you're kind of poofing, and so we popped out of that somehow and went off the race course. And I was like, and there was a guy standing, and I was like, like scared me. He was way far away, but I thought it was really tricky in there. But I slowed down too. I just felt like I was in the whiteout all the way, not the first 25 because I slowed down out of Picoy a little bit. We were in his dust, but it felt like it got worse and worse all the way to the fast road coming out of El Alamo or K77 area.
No, we definitely weren't on pace the first 100, 150 miles.
Yeah. When did you get by the cops' truck? Sorry.
Not till after the summit.
Yeah.
We kept taking our time, and we just couldn't get in the routine of things. So we just, I just kept being patient because I knew, our trucks excelled down in the desert, and that's when I was going to turn it on. And That's when he ended up pulling over, I think, with the drive shaft issue. It was Kyle Jurgensen, who did a great job.
He hauls the mail, dude. There's no doubt about it. We haven't talked a ton about him, but he's
really
fast. He's really fast.
He just won Silver State. And
at mile 30, he was like 15, 20 seconds behind me. Yeah. And Ryan was like 3 minutes because I was just so cautious in that crap.
A lot of people have asked me.
I'm not going off the road here. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to get to the summit. When I saw the summit, I was like, thank God.
Those rocks up there on that high line, though, are dangerous for the drive shaft for sure. That stuff moves around a lot. And I saw them parked over there too. They were getting out of the truck or whatever, and I was like, okay. And then not long after that, Ryan's pulled over on the other side of the road.
I didn't see him.
Didn't see any of that. You never saw him?
He was after Cabuso, the hard right, crossed the wash, and then we kind of started to go around that mountain where Gus Sr. blew that right there on the right. He was parked.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know we were McMillin 1, 2, 3 until up San Matias.
You know what I didn't know is I was watching the dust in front of Picoy, and I assumed it was Kyle. And when I got to Borrego, they're like, oh, it's Luke in front of you. I was like, oh. Because Bobby dropped off before, I'm not Borrego, K77. Bobby lost an input shaft before we got to K77. We got some breathing room. I'm like, how far ahead of us is Jurgensen? And they're like, who's Jurgensen? I'm like, Cops truck. And because my guys didn't know who was driving it. And they're like, oh, it's Luke in front of you. I was like, oh, crap. I had no idea. Because I couldn't see. All I could see was a dark colored truck whenever I could see it.
Right. And our trucks are very similar, so they look the same. The spare tire stack up and the height.
I really was convinced it was the Cops truck. But yeah, I was impressed with their run at San Felipe, and I was impressed with the speed they brought here.
Yeah. Kyle's a great driver.
For sure.
And he's proven
And
that.
you know, I'm going to tell you, Zach has really put a lot together in this class. I mean, he has learned a ton, and I feel like that he's in that mix with the group now. I mean, I'm pretty impressed by Zach Langley as well.
Yeah, the team in general, I mean, putting together the race like they did at San Felipe, that shows that they can run.
And some of the nicest guys in our sport.
Yeah,
for sure.
They one thing they don't benefit from, we all benefit from. Family legacy in the desert. Alan, your dad obviously has a big history of racing. Your guys with your grandfather and your dad's, I mean, amazing history. My dad raced since 71. So, I mean, they don't have that advantage. So they're learning things that is kind of second nature, right? I mean, Alan, when you think about it, there's stuff that we don't have to we don't process because it's just natural.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Let's talk about trophy truck drivers being donkeys. How many of us, first of all, I think we're talking about the gate that Andy ended up roosting a guy that was BAing him, right? Are we talking about the same spot?
It might be that gate.
Yeah, it was one. There's two there.
Yeah.
And it was one of those two.
It was the first or the second one.
So how many, by a show of hands, mistakenly went through the gate in the race truck, whether you were driving or not? Your truck went through it, right?
Yeah. Our truck went through it.
Yeah, so it was crazy. We pre-ran out there, and I pride myself on having great pre-run notes and great information. And Cody or Kraft or whoever it is, we work really diligently to make sure we're not putting ourselves in a position to make a mistake. Mile 15?
Yeah,
20?
15 out. Yeah, 15 to 20
I think 20 was in the ranch after, right?
Yeah, it was like 18
15
or 19.
Yeah. Anyway, there was when we pre-ran, there was a shut gate, and we all went around it. And somehow or another, the gate was open when we got there. I was going 85 miles an hour, and we're not going to fit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that we weren't going to fit between the posts, which we were easily. The concrete on the side was...
Which is rare.
For
right? Cattle guard.
Yeah, it was
Baja.
really narrow.
Yeah.
And we dinged a rim really, really bad, broke some beadlocks. But thankfully, the method and the BFG were so tough, we ran those all the way to 174. And didn't have a problem.
It's funny. I was talking to Luke right after the race because I was asking him how he had that flat before the finish, and he said, "Oh, I went through a cattle guard and pinched a tire." I said, "Oh, was it the one where it had the concrete curbs in the side?" Because on the way out and on the way back in to town, Luke and I were like basically tied on time, and it was much faster to keep your speed and go straight through it than it is to check up, and it was like a hard right left around it and then pick up your speed again. And I was telling him I was coming up to it, and I was not hitting the brakes because my co-rider called right around cattle guard, and I was like,
we'll
it looks great. Like, I'm not gonna give up like 3 seconds here. Right. Like, I gotta make up time on Luke.
That's what I was thinking.
And at the last second I saw the curbs. I'm like, hell no, and I slammed on the brakes, pitched the truck sideways to bleed off speed, and I went around it.
I think what happened is maybe the rancher had opened the gate later in the day on Friday, and a bunch of limited cars went through there because there was tons of tracks going through it. Right? You guys agree there was tons of tracks?
I feel like there was also caution tape and stuff on them. Like in the morning leaving.
There was the morning of, yeah.
I could swear that
the morning of the race
there was caution tape. So I think someone else in between us maybe.
Well,
yeah,
and
there was
my
no
brother for a
tape.
fact went through it, so
yeah,
he pinched it.
Yeah, well, and we might be because there was a couple of them, right?
Yeah.
So it might have been different. Who knows if we're talking about the exact same thing? But just goes to show you really. I mean, I slowed way down and still caught the edge of it. The front wheels went through. The back wheels got it.
Apparently, from what I heard, my brother was told to slow down and go around. And he was like, "Oh, we can make it through," but I guess he never saw the concrete. And just pinched
I saw the concrete, but I mean, it was really deceiving. But yeah, I mean, just crazy how things happen. So let's talk a little bit about the race with Robbie. So teeing it up, we've had a problem. We're in the pits. Bryce goes by. Now we're 5th on the road. We're sitting there, and all of a sudden there's an orange truck pulls into the pit behind us. And my guys are like, we're almost done, wrapping up, be ready. And so they send us out, and like 5 seconds later, they're like, or 10 seconds later, they're like, hey, Robbie's out right behind you. And then someone's like, Ampudia's right behind them. I'm like, oh crap! And this highway was jammed up, man. The highway was gnarly,
it was awful,
right? And you're going through Camelou, and you're trying. I mean, there's buses, there's trucks, there's semis. Yeah. We're trying to make safe passes, but eventually we're stuck behind the semi. We're getting close to the turnoff, and I'm looking in my mirror, and this you can probably tell. I mean, it's you and Robbie stacked up behind us. I loved your comment earlier.
I mean, I was reeling him in all that section crossing over to the coast. And we were probably like 100 yards behind him when we got onto the pavement. And we could see him far away, and you could see that he wanted to get around traffic, but he couldn't. And luckily for us, we got a nice little window to get through some of the traffic that we had. And we did, and then we started reeling him in, and then we got closer. And then towards the end of the highway, that's when he literally was on your bumper, and then we got to his bumper. And I was like, man, we're about to go 3 deep into the dirt. I've never done this before. Like, this is going to be nuts. So you pulled off, and then I was like, oh, God, it's me against probably one of the best, craziest, fastest drivers out there. So I'm like, let's see what we can do. So we go into the dirt, hauling ass. We're probably going like, I don't know, 120, 130, as fast as the truck would go. Pinned, rocks hitting into the cab, everything. And we're like, oh, my God. We're like, woo! Me and my co-driver, Steve, we're like, wow, yeah, this is sick. The whole way. And then, there's 2 right-hand turns. And he kind of checked up on me a little bit so I could back off, but my co-driver was like, no, don't let down. I'm like, all right, we're going. And then he hit the brakes, and I knew it was for the turn, so I checked up a little bit, but still ran them pretty hard. And I knew he wasn't going to move because I caught him on the highway, so nobody likes to be caught on the highway, especially with traffic. So I tried to dive in the inside, and then I saw some fans on the outside of the turn, which they should never do.
There's a VCP there, too.
VCP, but also the fans there. So I knew I had to go around the concrete poles that are there, and they can mess your truck up, which it did. And I was sitting in the dust. I didn't want to hit fans on the outside, so I just kept going right. And I knew the poles were there, but I'd rather hit a pole than a person or a car. So suddenly it was a bam! Hard hit, and I was like, oh, damn, the concrete pole. But I felt it like pretty good in the middle, so I was like, oh, maybe we hit it squared off. And so we kept going.
I didn't know you hit a pole there.
Yeah, I hit the pole, and then we went through that big first ditch, and we were hauling ass. We came down to the big hole, and then they just, coming out the bottom, there was literally no steering. I was like, whoa, and they just went up on the hill and stopped. And then my co-driver got out. We saw the tie rod was the part that broke. And unfortunately, we didn't have it in the truck, which we probably should have because it's, fairly small and not heavy. We waited. We lost about 30 minutes there waiting for the part to get there. We fixed it in a minute once the part got there, and then we kept hauling ass, and yeah, it was pretty fun, though.
So 4th is the finish for you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Great run.
Thank you.
That was a great run.
A little bit about the pink truck.
Yeah, we decided to do the pink truck in honor of our mom that was diagnosed with breast cancer, and fortunately couldn't be there for us in the race. She had surgery the Thursday right before the race, so she was at home getting updates and all that, but we decided to do that and we know that October is a month for breast cancer, but we still decided to throw in the pink and have a little more awareness for breast cancer, and yeah, it was pretty cool. It turned out pretty cool.
That's really cool.
It's rad of you guys to do. Yeah. We'll be praying for your mom for
sure.
Thank you. You guys, let's talk to Andy a little bit. We haven't really put you on the hot spot, but winning the race 2 in a row now. 2 in a row doesn't happen super often, but it's got to feel great for the team. Then you get to the finish line and sell the truck.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, the truck was sold before the race actually, with our all-wheel drive truck coming.
And so that was a Mason 2-wheel drive. You have the Mason 4-wheel drive coming now.
Right.
Was it true you had the plan originally to race the 4-wheel drive this race?
Yeah, as long as testing went well, we were gonna plan on racing it, and we had an issue testing, and so it was the decision was made to actually race the 2-wheel drive truck, and the guys who were buying it had come out to the test to drive it, because if the 4-wheel drive worked, we were bringing it to the race, and then they needed to test the 2-wheel drive to get comfortable in it to bring it to the race.
So they were gonna race.
They were gonna race it, yeah. And so we had to pull the plug on that as the buyer showed up and kind of give him the bad news. So that was unfortunate, but probably in hindsight it was a blessing in disguise that we kept with the 2-wheel drive. Because actually a weight off my shoulders, knowing that we had a proven truck, and we can go and race our race and not really worry about the truck making it to the finish line. So now we're going to test the all-wheel drive truck all summer. We've already been testing it, and we might race it at Vegas to Reno.
That's probably a good race for four-wheel drive.
Yeah, definitely.
I think.
So I'm excited for it. It's fast.
What about your 500? Smooth sailing all day?
I mean, that's what was funny about Pat and Jeff's story is, it's the ultimate adventure, like having hours of downtime and sending back to Ensenada to get a part and changing the driver change location. For us, the races are somewhat uneventful with it, which is a good thing. But it was really fun battling with Luke, and I'm not sure if you guys have, or Luke's experienced it. I'm not sure you other guys, you've experienced it. I think being first on the road in a truck in Baja, and just the reaction you get from the fans.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And just the feeling you get knowing that you're leading the race, you're leading the pack. That's a really, really cool feeling. And so that was fun all day just to be out front in general. And then Dan and Luke and started creeping up, and Bryce put a lot of time on us over the mic section and really started creeping up on us. It was a lot of fun. It was down to the wire. I mean, he had his slot 15 or 20 miles from the finish line, and that decided the whole race.
Let's take us through that a little bit. So you come through Santa Tomas, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got you by 25 seconds. What are you thinking? What's your game plan? Because there's not another split in there, really.
I knew. So I actually had some confidence from the morning off the start, knowing that I had put some time on those guys. Like I put like 30 seconds on Ryan through there to European, and I knew it really well. I pre-ran it two times, maybe 3 times, maybe 2. I forget. I had it marked really, really well. I was really comfortable in it, and I knew it was going to be advantage the first one back through it in the afternoon like it was in the morning. And
so no sun in your eyes or anything like that?
No sun in my eyes, none of that. Catching some bikes and quads here and there. And but my plan when we got off the highway was just to hammer down. And I knew that Luke was going to be going as well. And it was honestly just really, really fun. I mean, trying to drive through that European section to the new section is tight and technical, and it's blind rises, and it's through gates with tight turns, and I'm just in full qualifying mode, trying to win the race because he's leading me on time, so I have nothing to lose. He has all the pressure on him because he's leading. I'm out front. I'm technically leading physically, but I'm physically leading, but Luke is leading the race on time, so he's got to be the one that keeps up with me or make sure that he keeps time on me. So
well, speaking of that section right there you're just talking about, at that very point, that's when we all saw that video. You had a flat tire right there. What's going through your mind right there, did you know that Luke was already ahead of you before you guys changed that flat, or was it after the flat that you knew he was ahead of you?
The flat you're talking about, I think, was way earlier. It was,
or the one at the end?
I had a flat at the end.
Or you had the one at the end. Okay. Well, what about the one earlier, like the super fast one that because a couple people were asking what was going through your mind at that point, because you were still first on the road there.
Yeah, I knew we had a pit. We pitted 20 miles before that in Borrego when we crossed the highway, and I knew I had them by 4 or 5 minutes physically, and so I knew we had time to pull over and change it. But at the same time, no flats are good flats, and so we just try to limit the time we were down and pick up the pace once we left. And in the mic section, like I said, Luke really started reeling me in and putting a lot of time on me.
Such a meanie, Luke. So mean. Why are you so mean?
How about Bryce? Bryce put a bunch of time on all of you guys coming over that mic section, huh?
Yeah, Bryce put 10 minutes on us from 260 to like 360.
Is that the all-wheel drive advantage, you guys think?
Definitely all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Bryce is a talented driver to begin with. But yeah, I mean, you saw it last year too with Ricky Johnson over the Mike's Loop, put 7 or 8 minutes on all the leaders. And people are asking, you know, why 4-wheel drive? Why are you doing that? You got a winning truck. It's only a matter of time before Bryce has a super clean race and beats us all by 20 minutes. So if you're not moving that direction and starting to plan for that, it's going to be here before you know it. And so rather than waiting for all that, I wanted to be on the front end of it. And we have a similar package to Bryce, a different truck, but similar drivetrain. And so I think he's proving that most of the time it works. Most of his issues are front drivetrain related, not transmission or engine. And so I'm feeling pretty confident. We've been doing some testing, having some minor transmission issues that hopefully will get solved and figured out. I'm running a little bit of a different transmission setup than Bryce's in his truck as far as the shifting goes. But it'll be interesting to see how the testing goes and how Vegas Reno goes.
And Luke coming into that last section with a 25-second lead, I mean, there's a lot of pressure there. You know you can run the pace, so, I mean, you're leaning on it pretty hard.
Yeah, it's there was a lot of pressure for sure, but I wasn't focused on that. I was just focused on driving, and I just same thing as King of the Hammers. What got me there is just I've been more so trying to think more about just driving and not trying to control the race or my truck or thinking about other things, and that's what I kept telling myself going down the beach and then into that section is just put your head down and just drive the road, because and the thing going against Andy is. That's intimidating, not just because the amount of wins he has, but, we have the same mentality. We mark our notes pretty much the same. We have, we grew up doing this the same, and we know each other's strengths, and that we're going to be able to drive that section, just drive it smart, but drive as fast as you can. So I knew that's all I could do, and unfortunately we clipped that cattle guard, and that's what cost us, the contention for a win. I don't know how it would have ended. It would have been really close, but yeah, pressure was there, but I just told myself to focus.
I think that's a good thing he brings up, in that at the end of the day, it's a race. It's where we've already had so much fun throughout the day, and it's been such a great battle. At least for me, it was like, hey, I'm gonna drive this section as hard as I can. If I get a puncture, if Luke beats me on time, whatever it is, it's been a hell of a day.
Right.
And I got no complaints. I got no regrets on how I raced this race. I would have been stoked if Luke would have won the race and beat me heads up, fair and square. I mean, it was an awesome battle, one of the best battles I've had in racing, and it was just a lot of fun.
It was pretty much wide open up the beach for us, because it was 30 seconds and then 30 seconds the other way and then 10 seconds and 10 seconds the other way. It was like a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. Okay, this is all I got.
It was gnarly. I mean, you're constantly trying to adjust your driving style. There's a section that Luke put like a minute 30 on me on time when I had the lead by like 45 seconds, and he put a minute 30 on me, then he had the lead by 45 seconds. I'm like, how the hell did he just do that? Like, I feel like I'm going as hard as I've been going, and all of a sudden, boom, minute 30 in like 30 miles.
Well, it's interesting because different equipment too. I mean, you guys are on different tires is one thing,
right?
But you're in the Mason, you're in the Racer, so different propensities, different mechanical grip, different functionality of the
different
trucks,
drivetrain,
different setups. So
styles, yeah.
It's interesting because it's coming to the point where we are racing in small increments, and the difference in equipment. I mean, one truck may pound the bumps better than the other, and the other truck may corner better than the other, and the other truck might have better mechanical grip.
Yeah. And
so it's that kind of that game. And I think then back to what you're talking about in the 4-wheel drive, it's coming. Is it now? It's close, but what's the consistency going to be like? I know you guys are going 4-wheel drive. Any of you guys, Danny and Luke, you guys are going 4-wheel drive, right? Eventually.
Dan's thinking about it. I mean, I'm thinking about it too. I think Andy's right. I think it's a matter of time before it, shows it's proven, and then they're going to start winning they're going to start beating the 2-wheel drives by 20 minutes. It's definitely coming, and it's just a matter of when I want to jump in on it.
Is the consistency going to be there? That's the question, right, Alan? Yeah. I mean, we're going fast. The drivetrain is already taking a beating, which it will alleviate some of our drivetrain pressure in the rear end by having a front end. The question is, how strong can that front end be to take that beating when it needs to? I mean,
I think absolutely yes, and I think that's because of how much these teams have progressed. We got a full-time engineer. It's not the same as it was 5 years ago.
For sure, totally changed.
The failures and making these trucks run consistent and stuff, you can figure out why. The bad luck situation. It's not bad luck very often.
It's bad planning.
It's bad
planning, organization, bad parts,
preparation, and And I think if you know, a team, you know, with Andy as a leader, or, you know, a McMillin team that has experience and stuff to go in there and make, you know, we just revamped our team in the last 2 years, and I think we've shown that with our results. And I think with the right team, you can take that same mentality and apply it to the four-wheel drive and make it live.
It seems like the guys that are building the trucks now are making their own parts. Like, they're designing parts, because before you'd have to find something from rally or from short course or from something else and try to make it work in the trophy truck. Now they're designing their own parts that work in the trucks from scratch. So I think that kind of changed the game also. I know
What's
it's amazing.
interesting is that I think that the sport with trophy trucks, it was all factory teams. I mean, you had the Ford trucks, you had the Rough Riders, you had Toyota with PPI, you had Chevrolet with Larry Ragland. Everyone had their own shops. Everyone had their own engine builders, their own transmission builders, their own shock setups. No one was sharing information. Nowadays, it's a plethora of there's no secrets. Everyone knows exactly what everyone else is doing for the most part. And I feel like it's going to start to shift again, where people are going to start bringing more things in themselves, and maybe working with someone outside of the off-road industry on certain components of the trucks to gain these advantages, because, you know, they're getting a Mason all-wheel drive, Bryce is getting one, Jesse's getting one, Team C has 2 of them, Chris Miller's getting one. Everyone is getting the same truck. So what's going to be the difference if we all have the same truck and we all have the same drivetrain and everyone's going out there and doing the same thing? So it's going to come down to the preparation and the prep and the logistics from inside the shop. That's going to really start setting the teams apart in the future.
Speaking of setting teams apart, we talked about family. We're going to shift off of drivetrain for a second. Danny, I mean, how cool is it to be racing against your cousin and your brother, and maybe a little reflection when it comes to your dad racing against his dad? You know, is there still that, do you see the Scott and Mark, your dad being Mark, your dad being Scott, do you see the rivalry between Mark and Scott a little bit with their kids doing battle out there, but you also see that camaraderie of the family McMillin out there racing? I mean, it must be interesting, because there's got to be some tension, some friction, because you're racing against each other, but at the same time, that proud moment in the McMillin family is all running up front together.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's very unique. It's very unique to have 3 drivers that can run up in the front, and you know, Luke and I are a team, and we have Andy, who we're all under the same umbrella of the McMillin family. So yeah, there's some competitive things, but if I'm going to lose to 2 guys, I'd rather lose to these guys under the McMillin umbrella. And you know, it's one of those things where it's like, I got a cousin with the same last name, and if he wasn't my cousin, I would be frustrated, but he sets the bar so high for Luke and I, always trying to chase, and I think these last couple of years it's really shown. And as far as Mark and Scott, I think they were probably more like me and Luke, where it's more team based, but I think if there was a cousin that was racing like what we've got, it might be a little bit different. But I know it's real special. I know Scott said at Mike's Road that he got a little teary-eyed when it was 1, 2, 3 McMillin going up Mike's, and someone on Weatherman said, you know, hey, who's leading the race? And they said McMillin. They said, which one? And they said, I don't know, all 3 of them. And then, so that's pretty cool. But, you know, there's a little bit of rivalry, I think, just because we're always trying to best each other. And I think we're starting to really separate from the rest of the racing world. I think with some exception of some other teams, the Ampudias. And I think you're starting to see us 3 kind of separate.
What do you think? Just to touch on that. Yeah. But what's really cool is seeing my dad and Mark at the races and after the races, and just how they embrace and how they, I mean, like, you know, we take a big team picture after the race with us 3 and our dads. And
what's funny is before that picture was taken, my dad's got a cigar and a cocktail, and Scott's got a cocktail, and Scott says, hey, good race. It was like 2 team managers, 2 coaches thinking each other. Yeah. A great game out there.
I mean, literally, the players, it was going on before we even got to the finish. We were at Santo Tomas, and it was 15, 20 seconds between Andy and I, and my dad and Scott were on my race radio. Man, Mark, this has been a great day. This is fun racing. I mean, they were already talking. I had to yell to get off the radio because I was in full kill mode.
You're racing here.
They were all excited and happy. They were happy before we even hit the finish line. They just said, man, whatever happens, this has been a great day. I heard that over my radio. I didn't have the same thought in my head just yet, but it was, you know.
It's been really cool to see Luke and Dan and how far they progressed in the last couple of years. I mean, you could see it with their finishing, and Luke's winning King of the Hammers. Dan's always there at the end of the races. It's just really cool to have my cousins and we work together. I mean, we're at the office together 3 or 4 days a week, so we're always talking racing. Everything's about Baja. But it's been a really special and cool experience to be able to share this with them. And when Luke won King of the Hammers, like I was super happy for him. I was super stoked, and I think that's the difference between, you know, family and friends, is that I'm always rooting for my family. I'm always pulling for these guys.
We actually had a question come in from Nate Hunt. He says, "What would it take to get Mark and Scott in a Trophy Truck Legend entry for the Baja?"
That's
1000?
what I was just gonna ask.
You think it would happen?
Exact same question. Is there going to be a time we can set you 3 donkeys on the side and get your dads out there racing? And maybe it's not at a SCORE race. It would be epic because the Legends class is exactly what Scott and Mark, what it's built for, is guys that are icons.
I could see them doing like Nora.
But the question is,
like
teaming
Nora.
up together
in
or
the same
racing
truck.
against
He
each
was
other?
asking.
I could see them doing
I see them
Nora.
more racing against each other than together. But
I don't think my dad
close.
likes the Legends class idea. I don't think he agrees with
I don't
it.
think you're gonna see a big blue M in the Legends
My dad
class.
my dad either wants to chase me and have all the success run through me. Even when him and I were racing together and winning races, he was like in the background. He was trying to push me up to the front. So he doesn't want the attention. He loves when we go and race and we win and my cousins are battling and he feels a part of it. And it's either that or he'd race with me to win races again. But I don't think they want to go and race in the Legends class and then get distracted from us 3 racing.
My dad would be on the radio the whole time. How are the boys doing?
Right.
He wouldn't be he'd just be cruising.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You guys would have to not be in the race.
Yes.
Maybe they could do it like team up,
like
at
Nora.
Vegas Arena
Nora,
or
like you
Nora,
said.
or
Nora would
something
be a
like
good
that,
race.
you know?
I think they do it in Nora. My dad and my sister have been racing Nora recently together, and they love doing that in our old truck. But I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I don't see why not.
2 definite
Problem
icons.
is what tires do they run?
That's a great
2 and 2.
Little known fact is there was a team up once upon a time with 2 people on 2 different tires. They raced 2 different days in the same car and switched the tires and the stickers at the race.
Really?
Is that a trivia question?
Yeah, you can try to answer it if you want. They actually won the 1600 shootout doing that.
Was it you and Burgess?
Myself and Rob.
Oh.
Actually, when we had the 3-driver team up.
What?
Oh, yeah.
So Rob teamed with Brian Freeman in one car and us with
I
another
remember that.
car in Aaron Hawley's car, I believe it was,
that
right?
07 out at Prim?
At Prim.
Yeah.
Switch stickers and tires.
Nice. Travis Clark loves that.
Well, it's been a pretty awesome wrap-up show. I'm super stoked to be able to call all you guys friends, and this community that we live inside of is spectacular. One thing I was stoked on is to see great respect of the ranchers, the farms. When people are pre-running, they're cruising slow out there by the farms, seeing a lot of gates get shut. In some cases, I know the ranchers open the gates on the weekends or whatever, but always shut those gates. But overall, just a great experience at the Baja 500. People not hearing a lot of bad stories, and not hearing about a lot of accidents. Yeah, people will slide off the race course or whatever, but I think between the spectators and the racers and everybody around it, it feels like that everybody really has got into the synergy vibe where people are really paying attention and
I definitely felt like that, like the spectators and the race in general, I feel like was much safer. I mean, we had a couple vehicles coming backwards and going with us on the race course, which is never a good sight, but for the most part, for the fans watching, I feel like in the races in the recent past, there's been a lot more instances where it's like, man, that could have been really bad, or this could have been really bad. And granted, there's still people watching on the outside of corners on 100-mile-an-hour straightaway,
which we definitely got to have
90-degree
stop.
turn.
Yeah.
But besides that, I feel like people were at a safe distance. I feel like you SCORE did a great job marking the course, and the race has just been really good. Not just because I've been able to win 2 in a row, but just being a fan of this sport and being around it for a long time and driving those roads down there. I feel like they're really putting together really good courses.
Yeah, Jose G, Juan Tintos, Roger Norman, of course, the BFG guys laying out coursework with them. I mean, everybody I think has been doing a great job. Dan, I mean, you're.
I thought it was a great Baja 500 course.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that tough.
So much fun.
That was great.
Yeah. Would you think it was tough? I thought San Felipe was tougher.
I didn't think it was
maybe.
tough. I think San Felipe was tougher.
Oh yeah, San Felipe was tough. Definitely.
Yeah.
Because it was rough from go.
Luke?
Portecitos back up.
I don't know. I don't think so. The thing about this year's 500, I loved the course. It was great. I think Jose G does an awesome job putting them together. But this year's course, I mean, it wasn't, your first 30 miles. It wasn't speed zone to Ojos. It was gnarly silt hills. And then you got to K77, and you're not just doing K77 to Nuevo Junction, down the same old graded road.
Right.
They zigzagged us through there.
Yeah.
There was no time to catch your breath. And
No
then,
time.
And then you hit the summit instead of taking the highway down.
Yeah, it
And
wasn't
then you
the
had to
traditional like easy, nice graded road.
Do you guys
out
feel?
through.
My opinion, I feel like that it's progressively getting tougher.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but that's the feeling I have is that there's a lot less highway for sure.
Yeah.
A lot less big graded roads.
There's no time to catch your breath anymore.
Yeah.
I
What
like
do you? So, ultimate tacticians, of course, I would say the 3 McMillins. You and I probably have a good guess in this as well. What do you guys think is going to happen at the Baja 400? We race a lot of the same stuff. They're going to throw something different at us. Could it be multi-stage? Could it be? I mean, the last couple of years,
Multi-stage?
we did multi-day.
Oh.
When we were racing in Tijuana. I'm just wondering, what do you think? Have you guys heard anything? Do you have an opinion? Have you heard anything from the people? I mean, you guys obviously have family in the Ensenada area. You have Papa Some Beer there. What are we hearing out there? I've heard nothing.
Me neither.
The only thing I got out of Jose G was it's going to be fun.
Oh, cool. I hope it's different.
I hope
I
it's
do
different.
hope it's different. I think we're beating the heck out of Ensenada and the roads in and out of there. And that's a little bit of fear of mine, but like we said, Jose's been doing a great job putting together courses. So I hope, if he says it's going to be fun, and I hope it's different.
And it's a draw. It's a draw for the start. So that's
that's also really stupid.
I really
I
hope,
hate that. I think that's terrible.
Yeah,
I know.
What
I
it
should
should
start
be
first
is it should be the results for
You
the
don't get to start
500,
first.
and then the points.
Bet you Rob
point
draws number
standings
one.
after the 400. That's the start order for the 1,000.
Yeah, I think there should be some kind of system put in place, especially with so many people racing the series.
I think their goal was to get people to the races.
Yeah.
But how you finish the 400, being how you start the 500, people are going to race Lucerna anyway.
Right.
I mean, being how you start the 1,000, people are going to race that race anyway. So why not have some points thing or something leading into that race, and then how you finish there determines.
I agree.
start for the
I
1,000.
think before they announce whatever they're doing, I'm hoping that they're taking some of this into consideration because I think what we're all trying to avoid is someone that's a rookie in the class, someone that doesn't have that pace, having to all of a sudden be in front and feel that pressure or something.
Yeah, it doesn't always happen that because you get start in the back, you're screwed. I mean, at San Felipe, I was 27th, Bryce was 41st. We were battling for the win.
Well, look at Abdali. Abdali this race finished third.
And yeah, hats off,
He
by the way,
started
to
in the very
Abdali
back.
Lopez, who finished third in this race, put in a great
But
race.
same kind of thing.
If
Abdali was held up 15, 20 minutes at the start because of the bottleneck, because of where we started, just because he had a bad finish at San Felipe.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a bummer because you put in a lot of time, a lot of money to have a random draw at a race, and it's just kind of.
I'd even be willing to say
mixing the legends.
I wonder whose hat it is.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
not, are they
they're
still
not-
doing that?
No, Jose
Yeah, they
G
did it.
said that they were not for this. It was just for the 500. Now it's going to be trophy trucks and then the legends.
That's
Separate.
like the 5th time they've said that, though.
Yeah, well, hopefully they.
I don't know why
enforce
they
it.
did it at San Felipe and then they didn't do it at the 500.
No,
they did.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
did.
they didn't start the trophy trucks and then the legends. They mixed them in at the 500.
Yeah.
But what doesn't make sense is that they mix them and then the results are separated.
Yeah.
And then they don't mix them again.
Yeah, it's
But
like
then
they
they
don't-
mix them again.
I mean, I have to say, SCORE probably has the ultimate good decision because they're looking at all the data, but it seems very strange to me to have that class mixed in. But
Yeah.
I think that maybe just to simplify, the way to start is maybe go over the last 2 years of finishing results and points results or something, at least some kind of influence, so you have, some kind of stagger in there that puts the people that have been racing. I mean,
Do a top 10 draw like
I
they
think-
used to, didn't
I
they?
think
Where
to,
the
like,
top
for
10
next year-
finishers
You know
got to
what's funny is
start
I really
randomly
hated
in
that top 10 draw back then, but now I think it more sensible.
But I think
It's way better
San
than
Felipe next
random.
year should be the
Yeah.
the points for this year.
Yeah,
So
why not?
if Luke or Andy or I win the points this year,
Or us.
and
Or
or
me.
Cameron or Alan or
Okay.
Fish or
I'm right
Travis,
on your ass.
who knows? You run a number one, you should start first at that race. Just keep that revolving door of no more draws, because I don't think the draws are.
I don't think no one likes the draw, so there has to be some other kind of solution to start a professional race, like the Baja
qualifying
1,000, Baja 400, Baja 500 without a random draw.
Right.
Which who knows how random it is, but
Yeah.
a random draw.
That's another thing I think. So,
Yeah.
If it's random draw, I think it should be.
It should be like live and everyone can see it.
Yeah. We
Which
tried to
we've
do it on
offered-
Fishgistics
Which we've
before.
offered to do it live here at
get, like,
Baja
the, lottery
HQ,
balls.
host a party,
Yes.
whatever, like have some fun with it.
The last time there was a live draw, I drew with Robbie in 06 when we won the 1,000. It was for the 1,000 at Lake Elsinore, and I was there, and we drew like 32nd. So I'm not a big fan of the live draws.
That was at the Lake Elsinore Casino, right?
It was.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. We had some fun times back then. Big shout out to them for their support. Hey, big shout out to all of you that watched. Big shout out for those that shared, because of course that's how we get paid around here. And what are we pointing at?
The golf tournament.
Oh yeah, let me look at my notes. Oh, Fishgistics has
July
a
13th.
charity golf tournament coming up, and I would like to introduce Fish from Fishgistics, who is going to explain what's happening.
So July 13th is the Fishgistics charity golf tournament this year. Last year we sold out, and it's about 70% full this year. So if you guys want to come out and play, go to fishgistics.com/golf. All the information's on there. It's a lot of fun. And this year we're benefiting the Door of Faith Children's Orphanage down in Ensenada, or just north of Ensenada. So it should be a pretty fun time. I know a lot of you guys play golf, so you guys will maybe be out this year if you're in town. So yeah, there's that. Go check it out. We only got 4 weeks till it's time to play golf.
Right on.
Yeah,
and if
fun.
you guys don't mind, we're getting ready to do our Baja Beach Bash, the 11th annual. Have you guys been on that? You guys went on the FMF Baja Bonanza, I think, right? You did.
I did. I went on that one.
Yeah, so we're getting ready for the Baja Beach Bash, which is a fundraiser to benefit Rancho Santa Marta Orphanage and School in San Vicente. So we're going to start with the fundraising, so all of you prepare for the phone call. It's coming. The pressure's on. But overall, everybody have a great summer. You guys all did a fabulous job racing. Congratulations on your podiums, your 4th place, your 8th. Of course, Abdali Lopez, congratulations on 3rd place, and to all the winners. And to SCORE for running a good race, even though I think there's some things that we didn't like. Overall, I think the vibe of the 500 was a great vibe. And that's going to do it from here at Baja HQ. Buy your shirts online at BajaHQ.com. And support the sponsors of the show, of course, KMC, Rigid, and PCI. And we're stoked to have you guys be a part of Fishgistics. Thanks for checking in, and we'll see you next time when we go racing, probably around the Vegas to Reno time, if I'm not mistaken, and for sure on the Baja 400. See you later, everybody.